It usually shows up quietly. You hear something that feels true but heavy. It doesn't feel wrong, it just feels like too much. Your first reaction is not to argue, it's to step back. The truth might mean change. It might mean effort. It might mean admitting something you don't want to admit. And you can feel that weight right away. Then something else appears, a softer version, a way to understand things that hurts less. You don't grab it because it's false, you grab it because it's easier to hold. Comfort doesn't demand anything from you. It doesn't rush you. It lets you stay where you are. You notice how quickly your body responds. Your shoulders drop, your breathing slows, the tension fades a little. Nothing has been solved, but you feel better. The truth, on the other hand, stays sharp. It doesn't bend. It doesn't care how you feel. It just sits there, waiting. Comfort steps in and smooths the edges. It gives you words that feel kinder. It gives you reasons that sound fair. It tells you that now is not the time. You don't feel like you're avoiding anything. You feel like you're being reasonable. This happens in small moments, in conversations, in thoughts before sleep, in explanations you give yourself when something doesn't sit right. Comfort doesn't lie loudly. It whispers. It says, "This is fine." It says, "You're doing your best." It says, "It will work out." And you want to believe it. Truth doesn't offer that kind of care. It doesn't try to protect you from discomfort. It just stands there. So you choose what feels safer, what feels warmer, what lets you move through the day without carrying extra weight. Most of the time, you don't think of this as a choice. It feels automatic, natural. Comfort feels like kindness. Truth feels like pressure. And when you have to pick between feeling okay and feeling right, you already know which one usually wins. Not because truth is weak, but because comfort feels stronger. Carl Jung paid attention to the moments when people turn away from something inside themselves. Not in big, dramatic ways, in small, quiet ones. When comfort beats truth, Jung would say the mind is protecting itself. Some truths don't feel dangerous, but they feel disturbing. They shake the picture you have of yourself. They ask questions you're not ready to answer. So the mind looks for a softer place to land. Jung noticed that people don't hide from truth because they are weak. They hide because they want to stay whole. There are thoughts and feelings that don't fit the image of who you think you are. Doubt, fear, selfishness, uncertainty. These don't feel good to sit with. So the mind learns to look away. Comfort helps with that. It keeps those parts quiet. It tells a nicer story. It fills the space before something uncomfortable can fully show itself. Jung would say these hidden parts don't disappear, they just move out of sight. They stay close, shaping choices from the background. When comfort steps in, it feels like relief, like balance returning. You don't feel dishonest, you feel calm again. This is how the habit forms. Each time comfort softens the truth, the mind remembers. It learns what keeps things steady inside. Over time, truth starts to feel intrusive. Comfort feels familiar. Jung saw this as normal human behavior. The mind wants harmony. It wants to avoid inner conflict. So when truth threatens that harmony, comfort becomes the shield. You don't tell yourself, "I don't want to know." You tell yourself, "Now isn't the right time," or "It's not that important." Jung would say this is how people stay functional, how they keep moving without breaking down. But he also knew there is a cost. What is pushed away doesn't vanish, it waits. Comfort keeps the surface smooth, the deeper tension stays underneath. Most people don't notice this happening, they just know what feels better to live with, and most of the time that's enough. Until it isn't. Friedrich Nietzsche watched how people explain themselves, not with big speeches, but with small reasons that make life easier to live. When comfort beats truth, Nietzsche would say, the mind doesn't stop at relief, it builds a story. The feeling comes first, comfort, calm, a sense that things are okay. Then the explanation follows to protect that feeling. The story sounds reasonable. It says the truth is too harsh, too complex, too early. It says comfort is not avoidance, but wisdom. Nietzsche noticed how quickly comfort turns into something moral. It becomes the right way to handle things, the mature way, the balanced way. Once that story is in place, truth starts to feel unnecessary, even rude, like it's asking for trouble. The story doesn't say truth is wrong, it says truth is impractical. Nietzsche was interested in what this does to a person. The story gives permission. It allows someone to feel good about choosing comfort. It cleans the choice. When the story feels right, it becomes hard to question. Questioning it would disturb the calm it provides. Over time, the story settles in. You don't feel like you're choosing comfort anymore. You feel like you're choosing sense. Nietzsche saw how people confuse calm with truth. When something brings peace, it feels true enough. Comfort becomes a value, something worth protecting, something that guides decisions quietly. Truth, by comparison, starts to look sharp and unfriendly. It doesn't offer relief, it doesn't promise peace, so it loses its appeal. Nietzsche didn't argue against truth. He watched how people live, and he saw that people often choose what helps them stand upright. The story does that. It supports the self. It keeps things from shaking. Comfort doesn't need to prove itself. It only needs to work. And once the story is strong enough, truth doesn't need to be rejected. It simply stops being invited. That's how comfort wins. Not by force, but by explanation. Niccolo Machiavelli looked at what actually works, not what sounds good, not what feels right, what keeps things running. When comfort beats truth, Machiavelli would look at the results. Comfort keeps people calm. Calm people don't resist much. They don't ask too many questions. They don't slow things down. Truth, on the other hand, creates movement. It creates friction. It forces decisions. It can break routines. Machiavelli would notice that systems prefer comfort, groups prefer comfort, leaders prefer comfort. Anything that needs stability prefers people who feel settled. Comfort makes people predictable. When people feel okay, they stay in place. They follow paths already laid out. They accept explanations that keep order intact. Truth can interrupt that. It can cause doubt. Doubt spreads. Doubt makes things unstable. So comfort is rewarded, not always openly, but quietly. Comfortable people are trusted more, left alone more, included more. Those who insist on truth often feel the opposite. They are seen as difficult, disruptive, unnecessary. Machiavelli would not be surprised by this. He would say it's practical. A system doesn't need everyone to understand the truth. It needs people to function. Comfort helps with that. It smooths sharp edges. It keeps things moving without resistance. Over time, this shapes behavior. People learn which responses are welcomed and which are not. They learn when to speak and when to soften. Truth doesn't disappear, it just becomes less useful. Machiavelli would point out that comfort is not chosen because it is kind, it is chosen because it is effective. It reduces conflict, it preserves structure, it keeps power where it already is. This isn't about good intentions or bad ones, it's about outcomes. When comfort beats truth often enough, it becomes part of how things work. It doesn't need to be defended, it doesn't need to be explained, it simply stays. And once comfort is part of the system, truth has to fight just to be heard. Most of the time, it doesn't win. Napoleon Hill paid attention to belief. Not belief as proof, but belief as support. He noticed how people lean toward ideas that make life feel manageable. When comfort beats truth, Hill would say belief steps in to help. Belief softens things. It turns uncertainty into something you can live with. It tells you that things will be okay, even if you don't fully understand them. Comfort works best when it comes with belief. The belief that you're on the right path, that you're doing what you can, that this way of seeing things makes sense. Hill saw how much strength people draw from this. Belief gives energy, it reduces fear, It makes waiting easier. Truth doesn't always offer that. Truth can leave you exposed. It can leave questions open. Belief closes them gently. This doesn't mean belief is wrong. Hill wasn't interested in tearing it down. He understood why people choose it. Belief makes effort feel meaningful. It makes patience feel rewarded. It gives comfort a future. When you believe in the comforting version of things, you don't feel stuck. You feel guided, supported. Hill would notice how people return to beliefs that feel positive and steady, beliefs that don't demand too much attention, beliefs that help them sleep at night. Comfort grows stronger when belief wraps around it. Together, they create a soft landing. You don't fall into doubt, you settle into reassurance. This is why comfort lasts. It doesn't just feel good in the moment, it promises that things will turn out fine. Questioning that belief feels risky. It feels like pulling away support, like stepping into uncertainty again. So the belief stays, the comfort stays. Not because truth is gone, but because belief makes comfort easier to carry. And when comfort feels lighter than truth, most people don't see a reason to choose otherwise. Most of the time, we already know this. We just don't like hearing it said.